"You're done using this road, Mr. Mercer." That was the first thing HOA President Marjorie Bell said to me. She stood there confidently beside 6 brand-new yellow steel bollards that had been drilled straight across my vineyard road. Not near it, not beside it, directly across it. Behind those posts stretched 400 acres of grapevines, my equipment barn, irrigation systems, my late father's stone shed, and 3 refrigerated trucks that were supposed to pick up harvest crates before sunrise. Standing behind Marjorie were 2 HOA board members, a contractor brushing concrete dust off his jeans, and a sheriff's deputy she had already called before I even arrived. According to her, I was interfering with HOA safety infrastructure. I looked at the bollards. Then I looked at the road. Then I looked back at her. She wore a smile like the situation had already been settled. "This is HOA-controlled access now," she said, tapping her clipboard with one sharply polished red fingernail. "You've been warned for months about farm traffic, mud, noise, and non-compliant commercial use. The board has taken emergency action." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't touch the posts. I didn't argue with the deputy. Instead, I asked her one simple question. "Did your title company approve this?" Her smile faltered for just a second. "What?" I pointed down at the road beneath her expensive shoes. "Did your title company approve blocking the only recorded access corridor into Silver Ridge Estates?" The deputy glanced down. Marjorie let out a short, sharp laugh. "Mr. Mercer," she said, "you're a grape farmer. Please don't pretend you understand real estate law." That was her mistake, because what Marjorie didn't know was simple. The road she had just blocked wasn't HOA property. It wasn't common land. It wasn't shared community access. It was a private agricultural road my father built back in 1978. The subdivision behind her only had permission to use it because of a single recorded easement. One easement with one condition, written in one sentence she had clearly never bothered to read. She thought those bollards trapped me. But by the next morning, the title company wasn't calling me to ask why I was upset. They were calling the HOA, asking why their entire subdivision no longer had clean, insurable legal access. And the moment that question reached the closing table, Marjorie's little safety project turned into the most expensive mistake her board had ever made. If an HOA blocked a road your family built, would you confront them right there, or would you let the paperwork speak for itself? Keep that in mind, because one old easement was about to do more damage than any argument ever could. My name is Elias Mercer. I own Mercer Ridge Vineyard, just outside a small foothill town in California that most people pass through without noticing. It's not a luxury winery. There are no fountains, no wedding lawns, no polished tasting rooms filled with tourists taking photos. It's working land, dusty trucks, irrigation valves, mud in the winter, brutal heat in August, and grape skins crushed under your boots during harvest season. My father, Raymond Mercer, bought the first 100 acres in 1974. He wasn't wealthy. He spent his days fixing tractors, then planted vines until dark. Every year, when he managed to save enough money, he bought another strip of land from ranchers who were retiring or moving away. By the time I was 17, the Mercer property stretched from the county road up to the ridge and across the lower valley. Right through the middle of it ran the road that kept everything alive. My father built that road himself. He graded it using a second-hand Caterpillar he'd bought at auction. He dug the drainage ditches by hand. He poured the first concrete apron near the barn with the help of 3 neighbors and a borrowed mixer. He used to say, "A farm without access is a farm. It's a postcard." In the late 1990s, developers started circling the valley. My father ended up selling part of the lower acreage because my mother was sick. The medical bills kept growing, and the vineyard was barely surviving. But even then, he refused to sell the road. The developer wanted it badly. It was the cleanest route from the county highway into the new subdivision they were planning. My father agreed to let them use part of the road corridor, but only through a recorded easement. And he made sure the attorney wrote one condition in plain, unmistakable English. Nothing could ever obstruct agricultural access to Mercer Ridge Vineyard. No gate, no barrier, no post, no wall, no safety improvement, no board vote, no HOA rule. If the road was blocked, the easement was breached. I still remember him signing those papers at our kitchen table. His hands were stained with oil and grape dust. He looked at me and said, "Eli, someday somebody in nice shoes is going to forget this road was built by working hands. Keep the file." So I did. For 28 years, that file sat in a green metal box under my desk. Back then, I thought he was being overly cautious. Years later, that one sentence would become the only thing standing between Silver Ridge Estates and a full-blown title disaster. The subdivision eventually went up. They named it Silver Ridge Estates. Large houses, stone mailboxes, imported trees, golf carts, and decorative fountains that looked ridiculous in a drought-prone county. For a long time, things stayed mostly peaceful. Residents used their side of the road, and I used mine. I kept the ditches clear, repaired washouts, and plowed mud after storms. Most people waved when they passed. Then Marjorie Bell moved in. She became HOA president just 6 months after buying the biggest house near the entrance. She was the kind of person who didn't just walk into a room. She arrived. White Lexus, designer sunglasses, perfect hair, and a clipboard held like a badge of authority. Her first newsletter introduced something she called the Silver Ridge Renewal Initiative. That meant new mailbox rules, new paint restrictions, tighter parking enforcement, landscaping standards, and weekly compliance walks. I didn't care. I wasn't part of the HOA. My land bordered the subdivision, but my deed was separate. My taxes were separate. My water rights were separate. My vineyard existed long before their first foundation was poured. None of that stopped Marjorie from treating my farm like a stain on her neighborhood brochure. She made one dangerous mistake. She confused maintenance responsibility with ownership because the HOA contributed to maintaining part of the road under the old agreement. She convinced herself that the road was HOA-managed access. And once she started using that phrase, she never stopped. The first letter complained about dust from my trucks. I tossed it into the file. The second demanded that harvest vehicles avoid peak residential hours, something that would have destroyed our schedule. That one went into the file, too. The third claimed my tractors didn't match the residential character of the community. It even came with a map. Marjorie had colored Mercer Road blue and labeled it Shared HOA Access. Not private road, not easement corridor. Shared HOA access. That's when I stopped seeing her as a nuisance and started treating her like a paper trail. Then came the first public insult. I was replacing a culvert after a storm when she pulled up in her Lexus. She rolled the window down just enough to speak without letting dust in. "You need to coordinate this work with the board," she said. "I'm repairing my road." "It's not your road in any practical sense." I leaned on my shovel. "My father built it." She smiled like I'd said something naive. "History is charming, Mr. Mercer, but property values are current." That sentence told me everything. This wasn't about safety. It wasn't about dust or mud. It was about control. She wanted the vineyard invisible. She wanted the road to look like a gated community entrance. She wanted the tractors gone, the trucks gone, the mud gone, and eventually she wanted me gone too. I didn't know her full reason yet, but I knew this much. People don't fight that hard over a road unless they need control of what lies beyond it.